Today we're going to the Crossroads in Mississippi, the famous Crossroads. Actually, we're going to 4 different ones, but first off is the one that's most notable and regarded as the Crossroads in Clarksdale, Mississippi. Now, this is the place where Robert Johnson, the famous blues musician, sold his soul to the devil. Supposedly, that's what the legend says. And what happened was Robert Johnson was a pretty bad guitar player. When he was playing in the juke joints, people said, "Hey, can you take that guy's guitar away?" And then he went away for a year, and apparently some of that time was spent in Clarksdale. And then when he came back to the juke joint, he blew everybody away with his guitar playing and his songwriting. So the story was that he went and sold his soul to the devil in order to be an amazing guitar player and blues musician. And the legend is you have to go to the Crossroads to do that, and that's supposed to be right here on Highway 49 and 61. But just look at these crossroads. This isn't what I was expecting. This wasn't what I expect to see from a crossroad. There's like a Sonic drive-thru right there. So I didn't accept it. I rejected the story, and it's perfectly valid to reject the story if you want to. So what I'm going to kind of talk about in this video is that ultimately the crossroads is whatever you think it is in your mind as you experience these places and come to your own conclusion. So I'll talk about where I went in my mind thinking about crossroads as I visited 4 of them here in this video. But it's not somewhere where there's a Sonic drive-thru sitting right there with a big old plaque there up in a busy intersection with a bunch of stoplights. What is here, though, you can find a plaque for the famous site right there in front of Abe's Barbecue. Says that you're at the legendary Crossroads where he sold his soul to the devil, but Abe Davis surrendered his soul to Jesus, and he made this barbecue, which is actually quite spiritual in itself. I think this is the best ribs I've ever had. Great barbecue there at Abe's, and that's the real sight to see here at the Clarksdale Crossroads, I think. Next up, we're going to head to the next regarded Crossroads, which is right across from Dockery Farms. Dockery Farms is regarded as the birthplace of the blues because Robert Johnson was hanging out there with a bunch of other famous blues musicians. And opposite from Dockery Farms, you could drive and you could find a crossroads that looks like what you'd expect a crossroads to look like. You even drive along a pretty spooky looking flooded out cemetery. Now when you get to this crossroads, you can imagine the real meaning of what a crossroad is for these guys, especially if you think about everybody living at Dockery Farms. These are sharecroppers, they're living a rough life, and the road represents leaving or choices about where you want to be. You find yourself in this interesting spot where you have the opportunity to go one direction or the other, and there's a lot of meaning in that choice that you make. We can also point out here, because Dockery Farms is such a blues birthplace, that the blues themselves is kind of representative of the devil, which is invoked in the notion of the crossroads and selling your soul to the devil. But the real reason why the church told people that, the blues was the devil was really just because it cut out from their revenue. The folks who would go to church, that was a form of entertainment. If they didn't go to church and give them money, then they could find entertainment elsewhere, which would be at the blues scenes, and their money would go to those people instead of the preachers. So blues music is simply competition for the church, and therefore it's the devil. But you got to think that that was going on in the blues musician's mind as well, because they were heavily criticized for playing blues, and that was actually a crossroads that they had to make mentally to say, will I go this direction in my life to dedicate myself to playing the blues when so many of my peers, and I'm getting so much pushback from everybody in my family talking about how I am going to go to hell and, that it's the devil's music and so on. So it's actually a major life choice to pursue playing the blues at that time, and you do face a crossroads in deciding to go that direction with your life. Next up, I drove by Rosedale's Main Street and Highway 8. This is regarded as a crossroads too, and they even have a little plaque there saying that it is Robert Johnson's crossroads. It's just an amazing thing how, they don't know the history, and all these different places try to claim that the history is there. So I drove down that road, and I didn't stop, but I saw some signs out there for that. Next up, I went to what was for me the real experience of the crossroads. I was expecting it to look like 2 dirt roads that intersected with a bunch of trees and open area surrounding it. And that's what I found at Mound City Road in Beulah, Mississippi. You got to drive through the dirt for quite a while, and you get a real sense of Mississippi. You get the real sense that you're out there in a space where you could think about what the crossroad means for yourself. And for me, it represents the crossroad that everybody has to face as they go about their life, and they have to make decisions. They have to decide, who are they going to be in a relationship with? Should I stay in the relationship? Should I stay with my job? Should I choose another job? Should I go this direction or that direction in my life? There are a lot of crossroads that we face, everybody faces personally within their life. And to me, that's what I was thinking as I was standing there at what I regarded as the crossroads for me, and just thinking about that and how you make these choices. And it was quiet and calm, and you could hear the wind, and I had a good spiritual experience there, as you're supposed to, thinking about all these things. So thanks for checking out this video. I've been exploring a bunch of Mississippi blues sites on my channel here, so I'll post some links to that where you could check out some more. Let me know in the comments if you know of any other places I should be checking out. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell button to stay in touch. And thanks for checking out this video, and I appreciate your support.